Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into a world that hides beneath ordinary lives. A world of deception, obsession, and the dark truths that real crimes reveal. These stories are not just about the criminals or the victims. They are about what lies in between the unseen motives, the quiet manipulations, and the terrifying reality that evil often wears a friendly face. Crime isn't always loud. Sometimes it's silent, calculated, and disguised as normal life. The most chilling cases are the ones that begin in the everyday. The neighbor who waves every morning, the colleague who always smiles, the spouse who seems perfect. But behind the ordinary exterior, darkness often brews in silence. In the world of true crime, we often ask why. Why do people who seem completely normal suddenly turn into monsters? The answer is rarely simple. Some crimes come from desperation, others from greed, jealousy, or pure thrill. But what's most disturbing is when the reason doesn't make sense at all. When there's no clear motive, no logical cause, only darkness. Let's explore what happens when the truth finally surfaces. When the secrets someone spent years hiding begin to crack open, it often starts with small details, a lie, a missing item, a change in behavior. Someone notices, someone speaks up, and slowly the facade begins to fall apart. That's when we start to see the real person behind the mask. Take, for example, the countless cases where love turned into control, and control turned into murder. Many killers begin by manipulating those around them, creating an image of perfection. They are charming, attentive, even protective. But slowly, their real nature shows through jealousy, possessiveness, and anger. The transition from affection to obsession is often so subtle that by the time anyone realizes, it's already too late. In every real crime story, there's a moment when everything changes, a point of no return. It could be an argument, a discovery, or a secret exposed. That one moment shifts the balance, and what was once hidden becomes impossible to control. The dark truth begins to take shape. Behind every crime, there's a pattern of behavior that reveals more than evidence ever could. Some criminals crave attention, others crave control. Some want to erase pain, others want to feel powerful. And what's terrifying is that many of them don't look dangerous. They blend in, they work normal jobs, they live in our neighborhoods, they could be anyone. One of the darkest truths about crime is how it feeds on opportunity. The moment someone lets their guard down, the darkness steps in. It thrives on trust, the trust we give to family, friends, partners, and even strangers. And once that trust is broken, it leaves behind scars that never truly heal. Real crime exposes the fragility of human morality. It shows how thin the line is between right and wrong when pressure builds, when emotions take control, or when greed blinds the conscience. Some people make one terrible decision and destroy multiple lives in an instant. Others spend years carefully planning, pretending, and waiting for the perfect moment. When investigators uncover these crimes, it's like peeling back layers of lies. Every layer reveals another horrifying truth. What starts as a disappearance might lead to a network of manipulation. What seems like an accident might be a cover-up. The deeper they dig, the darker it gets. Sometimes the most shocking part is not the crime itself, but the realization that people close to the victim often ignored the warning signs. The subtle controlling behavior, the isolation, the fear in someone's eyes, all were there. But no one connected the dots until it was too late. That's what makes these stories so haunting. They remind us that evil doesn't just appear out of nowhere. It grows quietly. The media often glamorizes true crime, turning real pain into entertainment. But behind every headline, There are real people, victims who suffered, families who still grieve, and communities forever changed. Understanding these stories isn't about fascination with the macabre. It's about learning how darkness operates so we can recognize it before it strikes again. Many criminals are not just impulsive monsters. They are calculated manipulators who study human behavior. They know how to gain trust, how to appear innocent, and how to hide in plain sight. They learn from others' mistakes and refine their own methods. That's what makes catching them so difficult. It's not just about finding evidence. It's about understanding psychology. The mind of a criminal is often shaped by trauma, neglect, or power struggles. But sometimes there is no tragic backstory. Some people simply enjoy control, pain, or chaos. That's the part that makes the why question so terrifying. Because sometimes there is no why, just a cold, emotionless decision that destroys lives. When truth finally comes out, it doesn't just expose one person's crime. It exposes the systems that failed, the ignored reports, the missed clues, the people who looked away. Real crime is never the story of one villain. It's the story of many failures and a chain of silence that allows evil to grow unchecked. Forensic evidence plays a key role in revealing the dark truths. Tiny fragments, a fiber, a fingerprint, a text message can unravel massive lies. Modern technology has given investigators new ways to bring justice. But even with all the science in the world, understanding human behavior remains the hardest part. Psychologists who study criminal behavior often describe a pattern called the cycle of control. It starts with charm, then shifts to manipulation, isolation, and finally, dominance. Many victims don't realize they're trapped until it's too late. They are groomed, controlled, and mentally broken long before any crime is committed. That psychological manipulation is often more disturbing than the crime itself. Dark truths also lie in institutions, corruption, abuse of power, and cover-ups. Sometimes the crimes are not committed by individuals, but by systems meant to protect us. Police misconduct, judicial bias, and corporate crimes all reveal how darkness can infect structures of authority. It's not always about one person's evil. Sometimes it's about collective silence. Each real crime case leaves behind unanswered questions. Even after justice is served, doubt lingers. Could it have been prevented? Could someone have noticed earlier? Could another life have been saved? These questions haunt investigators, families, and even viewers who follow these cases. That's why stories of real crime aren't just cautionary tales. They're lessons in awareness. They remind us to trust our instincts, to notice patterns of manipulation, and to never ignore discomfort. Darkness thrives in denial. The moment we speak, question, or act, we take away its power. Many killers and manipulators share one disturbing trait. They believe they are smarter than everyone else. They think they can control the narrative, fool investigators, and rewrite the truth. But truth, no matter how deeply buried, has a way of surfacing. One inconsistency, one witness, one overlooked clue, and the mask shatters. When the dark truth finally comes out, it destroys more than just the guilty. It shakes everyone involved. Friends question everything they knew. Families collapse under guilt and disbelief. Communities lose trust. That's the ripple effect of real crime. Its reach extends far beyond the act itself. But in some ways, these stories also reveal resilience. The families who fight for justice, the detectives who refuse to give up, the survivors who tell their stories so others can see the warning signs. Out of the darkest crimes, light often emerges in the form of awareness and courage. True crime exposes the duality of human nature. How someone can appear kind and still be capable of cruelty. It makes us question everything we know about trust, love, and safety, but it also shows that truth, no matter how delayed, brings closure. Justice may move slowly, but when it arrives, it reveals everything. Some crimes remain unsolved, their dark truths locked away forever. These mysteries haunt us because they remind us that evil sometimes wins, that there are people who got away, victims who never found peace, and stories that ended without answers. Yet even in those cases, the pursuit of truth continues. Each investigation keeps the memory alive and the hope burning. The fascination with true crime isn't about enjoying violence. It's about seeking understanding in chaos. It's about finding meaning in tragedy. Every case tells us something about human psychology, society, and our deepest fears. It forces us to look into the darkness, not to glorify it, but to learn from it. Dark truths aren't limited to murders or kidnappings. They exist in scams, betrayals, and emotional manipulation. Financial crimes destroy lives too, leaving victims broken in silence. Cybercrimes expose how technology has given new tools to predators who hide behind screens, pretending to be someone they're not. Every era brings new forms of darkness and new ways to expose it. The internet has changed how crimes are committed and how they are solved. Digital footprints, social media clues, and online behaviors now tell stories as much as physical evidence does. Every message, search, and post can reveal motive, timing, and truth. But it also means the line between public and private life has blurred forever. One of the hardest parts of studying real crime is confronting the emotional toll it takes. Investigators, journalists, and even viewers often feel the weight of these stories. It's not easy to look at humanity's worst side and not feel fear or sadness, but that awareness is also what helps us protect ourselves and others. At the heart of every dark truth lies the same message: pay attention. Listen when someone feels unsafe. Speak when something doesn't add up. Notice when behavior shifts. It's often the smallest observations that prevent tragedies. Awareness is the first step toward prevention. Real crime also teaches us empathy. Every victim's story reminds us of how fragile life is, how quickly things can change, and how important it is to support those in danger. We can't always stop evil, but we can refuse to ignore it. We can choose to care. In every story, truth has power. It exposes lies, restores dignity, and gives meaning to loss. Even when justice seems impossible, truth carries strength. It's what keeps victims remembered and criminals accountable. It's what transforms tragedy into awareness. So as we explore these dark truths, remember that behind every detail, every headline, there's a lesson. Evil hides in plain sight, but so does courage. For every crime committed, there are people fighting for justice, for truth, for closure. And those stories deserve to be told. Thank you for watching and for taking this journey into the dark side of reality. If you found this exploration insightful, don't forget to share your thoughts below. Each case we discuss isn't just a story. It's a reminder to stay aware, stay human, and never let the dark truths remain hidden. Because in the end, truth doesn't just expose crime, it protects us from becoming part of it. And that's what makes knowing these dark truths so powerful.